Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com. The MSU Insider is standing by. A little over 24 hours from Western at Michigan State on Saturday night. And, Comp, what's the latest on that story that Graham Couch in his podcast reported that wide receiver Jalen Naylor for Michigan State has a broken foot? Any news from East Lansing?
Yeah, I'm hearing it's a metatarsal break. I'm not sure how long that'll be. I'd have to look into it. You know, there's rumors that he's probably out for the season. I'm not sure how long that injury usually takes. But, you know, for Michigan State to lose someone like Naylor, I mean, I know that you've been a fan of his level of play early in his career. I mean, the guy's nickname is Speedy Naylor, probably the fastest scholarship player they have. And this is a team with not a lot of team speed, especially on offense, not a team with a lot of explosiveness on offense. He had an impact last year as a true freshman, but even he missed about a month of the season last year, so we weren't ever really sure how much of an impact he could have had last year. Coming into this year, showed a little bit of spark on punt return, and now he's gone after one game. Not something that an offense that is struggling and sputtering, not news that it needed at this point in the season or at any point in the season.
They weren't using him a ton, so I don't know if we can call that a significant loss because I don't think he's truly been featured or utilized enough in the Michigan State offense.
Well, you know, last year he was a true freshman and he was starting to break through, and that's when he went down with an injury and missed a month, and I'm not sure what percentage he was when he came back later in the year. You know, last week when they were running some of those RPO screens, a lot of times they threw them out to Darrell Stewart, but you know, Naylor had 3 catches last week, didn't get loose for anything significant, but we don't know how much he might have been able to be used. Like I said, he's their fastest receiver, a guy coming back with a little bit of experience. From game to game, things change in terms of which receivers get featured based on the coverages they see. And Tulsa was a team that played a lot of 5 deep coverages and a lot of wholesale blitzes. It was really strange. So a lot of times last week, it was the running backs that were open on some of those valves against different opponents. Maybe Naylor could have and would have been utilized more. We'll never know.
Thoughts on Western and Michigan State tomorrow night? Probability that Western could leave East Lansing on the bus ride back to Kalamazoo with a W.
I think they've got a chance. You know, watching that game, Western Michigan versus Monmouth, and I know Monmouth is an FCS opponent with a poor defense, but Monmouth is a team that was in the FCS playoffs a couple of years ago. They won 8 or 9 games, I think, last year. And you know, their coach is a 26-year coach with 150 wins. So Monmouth is a pretty good FCS opponent. And the way Western just cruised through them on offense was really kind of impressive. I mean, they're completing passes with Wasink at quarterback to some of these new receivers that I'm not sure Michigan State could do against no defense. I mean, these guys were making some plays. You know, Western Michigan's lost some talent at wide receiver, but they have reloaded. I'll tell you what, you know, I'm not an expert on the Mid-America Conference, but sometimes some of these teams that win the MAC, you just look at them and you can see what they do on offense, and you're like, yeah, that I can see why they can win every single week in the MAC. There's a lot of high-scoring games in the MAC. I don't know the MAC from top to bottom, but it would not surprise me with this Western Michigan offense if Western Michigan, it wouldn't surprise me if they won the Mid-America Conference this year. Wasink is I think he's an excellent quarterback. You know, and Tim Lester was talking about him this weekend and all the things he can do from a cerebral standpoint, how much they leave on his plate to get them in and out of plays, to survey the defense before snap like a coordinator on the field. This kid from Grand Rapids South Christian, he's 6'2". If he were a little, you don't have to be that tall these days to play the next level. But with the XFL coming around and things like that, I wouldn't be shocked if Wasink plays some football after college. I think he's terrific. These receivers, this kid Jalen Hall, a sophomore from Macomb, Dakota, 6'4", that one-handed catch he made on that deep pass last week, the redshirt freshman from Knoxville, Tennessee, Deshaun Bussell, he had legitimate offers from Iowa and Tennessee. Tennessee was going through some turmoil and coaching change. That's why he didn't commit there. I'm not sure why he didn't commit to Iowa, but he chose Western Michigan. Sat out last year with an injury. Last week in his debut, 5 catches, 116 yards. That redshirt freshman, Bussell, at 6'2", he's a Big Ten. He's a Big Ten wide receiver. Jalen Hall is a Big Ten wide receiver. Wasink is a Big Ten quarterback. Bellamy is a Big Ten running back. I don't think this offensive line is as good as some of those that P.J. Fleck had, but I don't know what's in the MAC, but it wouldn't surprise me if Western wins the MAC. And any team that can win the MAC can beat a Big Ten mid-level team if a mid-level team plays their B-minus game. It's up to Michigan State to show that they're not a mid-level team, and it's up to Michigan State to not play a B-minus game. They better be careful, Bill.
Yeah, I think, just losing Naylor and the lack of speed and using that speed on offense will be interesting tomorrow night, 7:30 at Spartan Stadium. Michigan State hosting Western Michigan University. You can follow the Spartans 24/7 at SpartanMag.com. Jim Comparoni, the MSU insider, joining us on the Metro Health Guest Line. Comp, we'll talk next week. A look back at Game 2 for the Spartans.
Real quick, I like this Western Michigan offense, but against the best defense of the country. Last year, they struggled against Michigan, and Michigan had the number one defense in the country statistically. I'm not sure there was another defense in the country last weekend that was as good as Michigan State. Michigan State's defense is outstanding. So this Western Michigan offense I'm talking about, as good as they are, they still might come up, with not much at all against Michigan State. But Michigan State, they'll leave a team in the game like they did last year against Nebraska, and it'll only take 1 or 2 drives, and you're in trouble 9-7, 14-10. Michigan State cannot allow that to happen. But if Western does not play well on offense on Saturday, don't give up on them. They can win the MAC and put up some big points this year.
Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com, the MSU insider. Comp, thanks for the update. And like I said, we'll talk next week.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks.